One of the most common comebacks when a strength athlete is revealed to be vegan is, well, they must have gotten their gains before going vegan and just maintained while vegan. Well, my guest today was raised vegetarian and went vegan in 1998, then built an epic physique that still confounds his competitors. Hi, it's Emily from Bite Size Vegan, and welcome to another Vegan Nugget. Torre Washington is a rarity among bodybuilders. He's not a recent vegan convert or someone you can say got his gains on meat. Raised vegetarian, outside of a 3-year period he'll talk about, and vegan since 1998, Torre got his pro card at his second competition ever and has been unstoppable since. But why am I yammering on? Let's see the evidence. I think we're done here. Now let's hear from Torre about his vegan and bodybuilding journey. Well, Torre, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here and to share some of your experience with everyone.
I think I told you before, it's an understatement to say I'm honored, because when I get people that want to interview, it's like a nod, like, wow, I'm doing what I love to do. And to be recognized for it. So I'm very thankful to you, Emily. I really appreciate it.
So I thought that we would just kind of start with a little bit of a background, like when and why you went vegan, and then how and when you started with bodybuilding.
It's kind of twofold. When I was younger, my mom raised us, me and my brother, vegetarian. And she raised us vegetarian based on her belief system. Her belief system, she is an avid Seventh-day Adventist. And if you know anything about the Seventh-day Adventists, they believe that you're supposed to worship on the 7th day of the week, which is considered Saturday. And their philosophy also is that we live of the earth. So we utilize food from the earth for the health. They have a health message, and the health message is eating natural foods, not eating animals, not eating pig per se, definitely not eating anything that's so-called unclean. Those things are not meant to be eaten for our sustenance. So my mom raised us that way for about 10 years. And then around our 9th, 10th year, we were shipped to Jamaica. And then in Jamaica, because my mom is Jamaican, my brother's born in Jamaica, I basically consider myself Jamaican because I was raised around all Jamaican heritage, culture, and living in Jamaica. When we went there, my mom took us there to live with my grandparents because she was struggling kind of taking care of us, so she needed some help. And her mom and dad were like, send them here, we'll take care of them, and you can work on getting yourself together, get more money, things of this night. She's a single mom. So while we're in Jamaica, my mom said, just please don't feed them pork. So, because they knew nothing about vegetarian, in the islands, most of the time when they're young, most people in the islands eat whatever they can get their hands on, because most of the slave ships dump people in these different islands. So in Jamaica, my grandmother and my grandfather fed us meat, but I've never eaten pork, so we were never given anything that had to do with the pig. And so for that time being, we were there for about almost 3 years. And so then I came back to the US, and that continued for a little while, and then until I came into the Rastafarian culture, because it's like it latched on to me, because most of my brethren were Rasta. We're all Jamaican hanging out together, and then we just started reasoning. Rasta's called reasoning, like discussing on things, and then we decided, yo man, let's full-fledged go into being Rasta. And so while in the Rasta lifestyle, I saw that the Rastafarian lifestyle spoke on being Ital. Ital is natural, of the earth, using earth to provide nutrition and life. But most of the Rastas that I knew still ate fish, still consumed chicken. And so I was like, me coming into my own, I didn't want to be hypocritical. So I said, I'm going to go definitely fully Ital. And so Ital was the way for me. I didn't even know it was called vegan until later on in life. I'm hearing this terminology vegan, and people are like, oh, you're vegan. I was like, what is that? And so I started to look into it, and I would get a lot of questions on what I ate and how I ate in this time. So back then, it was strictly just tofu, things like, simple things I could get my hands on. Because, I was single and young and running around just surviving, enjoying life. So 1998, I just cut it all out. And I said, yes, this is where I'm going to go. And I just continued from that point. So even in college, people were asking me, man, I don't know how you do that. What do you eat? I've been having this question, what do I eat, since I started. So almost 20 years, I get that question. I even get it more now because I think it's becoming such a bigger thing that I get that question even more now. I was always the direct, I guess, that's the object of conversation anytime we went out, because I would have to talk to the waiter. Oh, okay, can you make mine like this? Take this out. And then so people are like, what are you eating? So I hope I answered your question and as far as the vegan part. But bodybuilding, it's interesting. Bodybuilding came up to me once we got back from Jamaica. I would start seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger and seeing him on TV. I was really into comics, so I used to draw comic characters like Wolverine and Superman. Their shape, they look just a superhero look. I wanted to look like that, and so I just started working out a little bit in Jamaica. Like my grandfather was an electrician, so he had this like full iron weight that he would do things. He would solder things on and do different things on it. I used to just lift it a little bit, do some crunches, and I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. But when I got back to the U.S., fast forward and seeing Arnold, and I started reading everything, anything about bodybuilding. I read about form, read about how they train, and this, that, and the other, and I just continued to do that. So in middle school, when I was in Florida, a friend of mine also worked out, so we started working out together. And people used to say we looked like some bodybuilders of the past when we trained together. And I wanted to compete, but I was young, thinking, 15, I'm not gonna be able to compete. So then in high school, my friend started competing. And then around sophomore year of high school, he dropped out to continue to compete, which I was like, wow. But to this day, Emily, I don't know what happened to him. I would love to find out what happened to Rich. Rich, if you're out there, you see this, man, I'm looking for you. But so high school, I finished high school. I also did track and field. I run, the sprinting, 100 meter, 4x100 meter, and the relay. So, and the 200. I didn't compete. Started going to college, and at Tuskegee University, I took up engineering. And as I'm taking up engineering, my advisors said to me that you don't have time to do anything else, so you can't do track anymore. So I had to cut track out. Got my engineering degree, and once I graduated college, bodybuilding, as far as competing, I wasn't even thinking about it anymore. I would go to shows here and there. Then I had a friend in 2008 who I know from Florida. He moved to Atlanta. I was living in Alabama at the time. He said, his friend of mine called me and said, hey man, our friend Chris is competing in Atlanta. And I said, what? He said, yeah. So I contacted him. He said, you should come to the show. And I love going to shows because I love just being around people that still wanted to maintain physically fit. And this whole time I'm vegan, I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm there and I see him win. And it just went off in my head, Emily. I said, you know what? I don't want to get to the end of my life and say, man, I should have done it. I said, let me just give it a shot. I'm vegan. I don't know how it's going to work out, but we'll just go with it. And so I talked to him. He just didn't know how he was going to work around the diet part because he was not a vegan. So I just made adjustments based on what he would tell me or what he did, and I would do it myself. And so I just went to him proposing. But one thing was particular, Emily. He said, how did you remain so lean eating the way you did? And I was like, I don't know, you know, but that's just a testament to eating that way for such a long time. And to him, it was kind of dirty. They call it dirty because I wasn't eating the so-called clean method of eating. I will get on that later. But so 2009, April, I did my first show. I placed third out of 9 guys. So I was kind of like, wow, all right, this is not bad. You know, he helped me with posing and everything. And so I decided to do another one. Like, I think it was 6 months later. 6 months, 4 to 6 months later, I decided to do another just to see if I could do a little better. Maybe I could get second. But I ended up getting first. And I ended up, then first you have to do the overall, where overall you compete against the guy in the other class and the guy in the other class. If there's 5 classes, you got to compete against all of them to get a pro card. And so I competed against those guys and got my pro card. So my second time around, I said, all right, I think we found something here. And so from that point on, Emily, I've been doing it ever since. Love the competition. I like to compete. I don't like to get on stage by myself. You know, I didn't win anything if I'm by myself. You know, it's just me. You know, yeah, you're competing against yourself, but you also want to kind of gauge yourself against the other competitors that are considered pros. So the second show was tougher. That second show was 16 guys. So it was like, that let me know, all right, out of 16 guys who have no idea what being a vegan is, they look at you and they're thinking, you don't eat any meat. You sure no eggs, no butter, no. They're like, hey, how do you look like that? So that let me know, okay, I can do this. But I wasn't even doing it to say, hey, I'm vegan, look at me. I was just doing it because I love the competition of getting on stage, and just, it was something I wanted to do, and it finally came back and I realized I was good at it. And so here we are today.
Well, again, I just wanted to thank you so much for your time and for just the example that you set for others to kind of find this way of life. So thank you very much.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's my pleasure to be able to share a little bit about Torre.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from Torre on his journey. This video was sponsored in part by Chronometer, where you can track your fitness and nutrition to ensure optimal athletic performance, whether you're sculpting your own physique or just wanting to check your nutrients. Use the link in the video description or up there to make your own free profile. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Torre's unique history. Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this muscled up nugget, give the video a big thumbs up and share it around to show what plant power can accomplish. If you're new here, do hit that big red subscribe button down there for more awesome vegan content every Monday, Wednesday, and some Fridays, and not to miss out on the rest of the Vegan Athlete series. You can see the series so far by clicking this link. If you want to help support Bite Size Vegan, check out either of the support links in the video description below, or click on the Nugget Army icon there, or the link in the sidebar. Now go live vegan, build up some muscle, and I'll see you soon. You know what? I too only ate meat for a very limited period of my life. Maybe I'm meant to be an awesome bodybuilder. No.